Good evening and welcome to the Tahoe Truckee Unified School District of May 20th. Perfect. The board did meet in closed session with no reportable actions. At this point, would you all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. My pencil, I lost my pencil. Superintendent Kramer, are there any changes to the presented agenda?
No changes to the regular board meeting agenda.
Thank you. Would anyone care to make a motion for the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Moving quickly, there's my pen. Superintendent Kramer, presentation 7.0.
Yes, I'm very excited tonight that we have students from Truckee High School that worked with our teacher, Mrs. Mooney, on bringing back a literary magazine. So they're here tonight to tell us about this. So thank you so much for coming and welcome.
All right. Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having us. We're all juniors here from Truckee High to talk a little bit about the Truckee Reverie, which is the first Truckee High literary and arts magazine in over 20 years, which is very exciting. My name is Riley Killen. I'm the founder and committee chair of the Reverie, and here with me I have Aurora Derrick, who is the vice president of Poetry and Prose Club and a key part of the outreach team, and Ayla Bear, who is an editor on our team and one of the most dedicated members. So before we get into how we made the literary magazine, I wanted to talk a little bit about why it matters so much. So there's this strange thing about high school where you can spend every day walking around the halls with the same people for 4 years, and you can end up not really knowing any of them. People kind of become two-dimensional, like the artist, the quiet kid, the athlete. And so I think this is partially because a lot of people don't really get the chance to be shown in their element. So we founded the Reverie to celebrate students for their creativity and create a platform for their works to be shared. Since this absolutely would not have even come close to being complete without the amazing work of the team, I'd like to pass it off to Aurora and Ayla to talk a bit about the process and the hard work that made this reality.
So Poetry Prose Club was founded about at the beginning of last year, and although we talked about forming a literary magazine and everyone was interested, we just didn't really have the initiative to get it done. And this last year we started, and with the help of the amazing team, we ended up making the literary magazine, and we hope to continue it throughout the next few seasons and school year. Next to Ayla Bear to talk about our process.
Ooh, so tall. All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the process. So first things first, we sent out a submission form to everybody at Truckee High and also throughout the TTUSD district. So we had a couple submissions from North Tahoe as well. And we chose change to be our theme because we thought it really encompasses what it means to be in high school. I feel like there's a ton of different kinds of changes that people go through throughout this experience, so that was really important to us. And then we ended up getting 29 individual responses to our form, and we had 38 total working pieces that we helped sort through, so that was really cool. And then on our editing team, we had a 3-person editing team. I was one of those members, and what we did is we basically just scanned all of the submissions for quality, how much they cohered with our theme, all that kind of stuff. And then we also worked really hard on putting all of the pieces in order together to make sure that, you know, the photographs go with poems that make sense, everything goes together in a nice flow state. And then we also had our design team, which was 2 people, and they made hand-drawn borders and designed our cover all by themselves. So that was really, really awesome. And then we also met once a week for about 30 minutes and had lots and lots of group chat conversations to keep everybody super connected. And now back to Aurora.
So as a member of the outreach, there were honestly the entire group, but I helped create posters and we put them up around the school to advertise, as well as going to each SS, student success class, to make sure that everyone knew this was a possibility to submit for. And we also had a countdown in the library, so there was a little bit of anticipation regarding the Lit Mag. And then we also made an Instagram, just so we got further outreach to people we knew. And regarding fundraising, we made sure that everyone went home and asked their families and friends to contribute, and it was really a community-oriented project. To finish it off, Riley Gillen.
So finally, we'd like to express our heartfelt gratitude to our sponsors, Tahoe Mountain Realty and West Orthodontics. Without their generous submissions, we would not have been able to print and distribute throughout the community the first ever edition of the Truckee Reverie. And now Aurora and Ayla will actually pass you guys each a copy of the Reverie right now. And so in the beginning, the idea behind the Reverie was to create a platform to showcase students' work for appreciation, and I'm proud to say that I think our team really did that. At the beginning of the year, there were students who had never shown their work in public before, and then after the Reverie was out, they were able to hold it in print and be appreciated by their peers and teachers, which was very cool. I think our goals were to build confidence and connectivity and also recognition throughout our peers and community, and I think that the Reverie really helped with that. And we hope to keep it going with 2 issues per year, and we hope that it continues growing with the support of our peers and community. Thank you for your time.
That was eloquently spoken and presented. Unbelievable. This was lovely. You stick around because there may be some board questions.
Question. So I can't wait to dive into this. And I'm probably going to embarrass myself, but what does Reverie mean?
We actually debated a lot about the title, and Reverie is kind of like a thoughtful state of mind. Like you're in a reverie, which is kind of similar to a daydream, and we hoped to kind of encompass like exploring the thoughts of our student body.
Thank you.
This is beautiful. Thank you so much for the work and dedication that you put into this, and for bringing poetry and short story writing and art back to the forefront to the school board. Thanks very much. Shows how important it is. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, in just the few minutes we've had here to be able to look at it, I love the diversity that's shown and exhibited in it. So you have, photography and a sort of artwork and, spoken word. And I feel like right now more than any time, arts are just something to celebrate. So the fact that you're highlighting it is such an honor for our community too. I think you'll get a lot of momentum beyond just the high school walls with this. So congratulations, a big accomplishment.
Oh, I just wanted to say thank you so much for giving a platform, a formal platform to student creativity that isn't necessarily the newspaper or the other publications that you have that is more focused on art, spoken word, and short stories and poetry, and things that people typically will keep to themselves until someone asks. Please share that. And to be able to have the courage of sharing your deeply personal artwork in this way just really helps to kind of help everybody else on campus understand each other. And I really liked your introduction where you were like, people can just go through 4 years of high school, passing in the hallways, not really knowing what anybody else is like or, unless you're connected socially. and that people can become two-dimensional. That was a really powerful statement, because what you're doing is you're adding either maybe a fourth or third dimension to what it's like to be in high school, and just really elevating the whole conversation. So thank you for your leadership. I'm sure this is going to take off, and please keep up the good work. It's really, really compelling, and thank you for coming to share it with us.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming to do this. This is, we always love student voice, and we, as a board, I think appreciate when student-driven activities actually come to fruition. I know there's a lot of support, but really, really neat to see you, and this is probably our, as we always say, this is our best way of seeing what you guys do, and then it shows to the rest of the community. So well done. You spoke very well. And also, again, back to the community. Our community, obviously, our sponsors, you guys did a great job getting support for this to happen. But, you know, our community supports everything that you guys do, so really, really happy for that. But yeah, thank you. Keep it up.
Okay.
And the 8.0, Superintendent Kramer, is retiree celebration.
Yes, this is a bittersweet moment for our district. We have many beloved staff members who are moving into the next chapter of their lives, but we want to send them off with gratitude. So if the board would please join me in front here, what we'll do is we will have one of their supervisors come up to the podium to introduce them, and then retirees, you're going to work your way down and shake hands with the governance team, and then receive flowers and a commemorative plaque for your years of service. And then if you don't mind waiting in front of cabinet there, and we'll do a group photo once everyone's been recognized. So that's the plan. Okay, we look ready. So, community, we're first celebrating transportation. So if our director, Tony Lavezzo, will come up, he can introduce our first retiree.
So I'm very honored, and it is bittersweet, but excited to honor a couple of our dedicated transportation staff that has retired and is retiring at the end of the school year. I'm going to introduce Laura Brochu. She's been a bus driver for us for 16 years. Very dedicated employee who has an absolute passion for the school bus and has gone above and beyond with helping new trainees and having so much pride in watching our students grow from kindergarten all the way through high school. She was just telling me a story where she picked up a student today that she remembered from kindergarten, and he's ready to graduate high school. So I'm very proud to recognize, saddened that she's leaving, but very excited that for her well-deserved retirement, Laura Brochu. I'm going to have Ricky Cooper come up, Nacho's immediate supervisor.
I had to write something because I will not remember. How do I skip to the next one? Hello, my name is Ricky Cooper. I'm the fleet supervisor for T2SD, and I would like to recognize Ignacio Garcia, or Nacho, for 18 years with the district. I've had the privilege to work with Nacho for about 9 out of the 18 years with the district. I've worked with Nacho as a coworker, supervisor, and as a friend. For years, Nacho has been an essential piece of transportation, working on cars, buses, transporting students, and receiving those early morning wake-up calls to cover routes. They say that retirement isn't the end of the road, it's just a turn in the road. Now let's be real, we're all incredibly jealous of where your road is heading. Beyond all of your hard work, what What we will miss most is your presence, the ability to smile even on the roughest of days. You've always carried a tremendous amount of humbleness and humility. Nacho, as you trade in your alarm clock for sleeping in, you have truly earned every bit of relaxation and family time you can get. Thank you for your hard work, dedication, and the impact you've left on all of us. Congratulations.
Next up, if we could have Assistant Principal Ashley Perkins come up for Truckee Elementary School. Got it.
Okay. Good evening, T2SD School Board, members of the Cabinet, and everyone here with us tonight. If Leslie Fansler's retirement plans are even half as meticulously organized, perfectly placed, and thoughtfully mapped out as her classroom thematic units, assignments, and classroom procedures, I can guarantee she's about to have the most adventurous and relaxing retirement in human history. Leslie is someone who doesn't just teach content, but who builds a sanctuary for learning focused on metacognition. Her sense of organization supports students' ability to access the curriculum and remain emotionally regulated. Her lessons and units are filled with intentionality, and she's always held her students and herself to the highest standard of excellence. But beyond the flawless schedules and structured classroom, what truly defines Leslie is her presence. In a world as busy as an elementary or middle school classroom, she is the ultimate anchor. She has this rare kind of incredible calming demeanor. I have personally witnessed moments where a typical person would visibly appear stressed due to a situation or circumstance, and yet she always keeps her cool. She doesn't achieve order by raising her voice. She achieves it through respect. Leslie establishes clear boundaries and treats every single student with the exact same level of accountability and dignity. She looks at every child who walks through her door and sees their absolute potential, refusing to let them give up on themselves. Leslie has deep appreciation for Truckee history and shares her depth of knowledge with her students and team members. She helps develop engaging field trips and lessons for her students. Her journey to us is a testament to her global perspective and her deep heart for community. Long before she arrived at Truckee Elementary, her impact began in the Sonoma area, working in a dual immersion school. She then took some time to travel exclusively, gathering experiences from around the world, before bringing the immense wealth of knowledge to North Tahoe Middle School as an ELD teacher, and finally right here to us at Truckee L. Throughout her entire career, her gift for bilingual support has been a lifeline for so many. She hasn't just been a teacher to her students, she's been a bridge, an advocate, and an excellent communicator for their parents and families. She made sure that no matter their language barrier, every family knew that they were seen, heard, and valued partners in their child's education. She takes the time to meet with families to share supportive resources and strategies to help her students. She analyzes student data to determine their strengths and areas of growth. You know you have truly woven yourself into the fabric of a community when history starts repeating itself in your classroom. When you've officially reached the milestone where Leslie has taught the children of her former students. Think about that for a moment. Parents in our community are sending their kids to school with the ultimate peace of mind, thinking, I know that they're gonna be okay because they have the teacher who changed my life. This is not just a career, it's a multi-generational legacy. Leslie, as you close this chapter and open the next, one that hopefully involves a lot more extensive travel and absolute zero lesson planning, please know that the profound mark that you leave behind, you've shaped the past, present, and future of countless students. Thank you for your calm, your kindness, and your fierce belief in your students, and your unwavering dedication. Truckee Elementary will miss you more than words can say.
Next up is Principal Stephanie Fo. Next up is Principal Stephanie Fochek celebrating our Tahoe Lake Elementary retiree.
Good evening. After 34 years of weaving wonder and a love of learning into the lives of our littlest learners at both Kings Beach Elementary and at Tahoe Lake, Beth Nordby, the legendary and amazing, is retiring. And I will tell you, Tahoe Lake is not the same. We were lucky to have her for the beginning of this school year, which was incredible, eased us into losing her. To step into Beth's kindergarten room was to step in a world that felt magical, but we know that it was the result of so much hard work and dedication. It was not uncommon to catch Mrs. Nordby in the classroom on the weekends preparing an amazing week for her little learners, as Mr. Nordby knows. Her work truly exemplified both the art and the craft of teaching. Mrs. Nordby shared her love of song with her students, turning everyday routines into joyful melodies, and the cutest kindergarten performances you will ever see of the Gingerbread Man and the Mitten. We all still sing the songs. Beth is truly a gifted educator who we hope to get back as a sub. And her nurturing and creative classroom was a space where every single student thrived. While we miss her greatly, her impact is still felt at Tahoe Lake as we continue the traditions she created, and her legacy will always carry on in the hundreds of students who were lucky enough to start their education with the fabulous and magical Mrs. Nordby. We wish you the best in retirement, and we know no one is happier than Mr. Nordby to have you joining him, and no more weekends in the classroom. Congratulations and enjoy.
Oh, my gosh.
Next up for our Student Services Department is Mr. Nick Bartlett, our Programs Specialist in Special Education, to celebrate our retiree.
Hey, everybody. There we go. Got a hot mic. Here we go. Okay. It's an incredible honor to honor Becca Wing, who actually has 27 years of experience in a education setting. So I'd say she is cut from a different mold of professionality, of poise, of strength under multiple demands every day. I, in fact, owe my career here in this district in part to Becca because she was on my hiring committee. And while we're more colleagues in a supervisor role here, I'd just love to rattle off some of the wonderful things she brought to the table for our team over the years. Again, I don't know how she managed so many things at once. You have the old analogy of the plate spinning. I think you have multiple hands to spin multiple plates, and you always allowed us to come in and interrupt with grace. You never had an issue, and somehow you managed to get right back on it, even though you have the demands of multiple sub-departments within our district, and multiple people and demands, from timesheets to mileage reimbursement to budgets. You always knew where the money was and where to move it. And I think, again, you're just cut from a different mold. And truly appreciate all of our time working together, Becca. And I just can't wish you enough wonderful enjoyment in your life, with your family, in any of your pursuit of happiness and hobbies and all of that, as you have already entered this phase in December. But, I do hope it continues to be everything you hope it to be, and we're better off for the time you were with us, for sure. So thank you, Becca Wing. Was I supposed to? Yes, of course. Yeah.
So we have 4 other retirees to celebrate, but they weren't able to make it tonight. So we'll do a round of applause for Sue Ellen McGeorge for her 10 years of service. And then also for Delia, Venegas for her 25 years of service in early childhood. Thank you. And then Marguerite Paris for 34 years of service, most recently at Truckee Elementary. So congratulations. And our last retiree to recognize, 27 years of service, most recently at Tahoe Lake and Donner Trail, is Kathleen Perkins. And we know they're already off enjoying their retirement, which is wonderful. So if we could have our retirees come up and we could do a group photo, that would be wonderful. We will continue with our board meeting as the retirees celebration moves out the door. What happened to the front row?
Yay, they're moving out.
Okay, good. Come back up front. At this point, this is public comment. As a reminder, we have 3 minutes for each participant. And if there are so many public comments that we have to move past 30 minutes, we will do so at the end of this meeting. But this looks like we have 3. Is there anyone else who would be interested in speaking? There is a yellow, do you want to fill out thing? Did you do it, Beth? Oh, come on, as you do that, I will start with my children. At this point, could I please have Anna Keating and Haley Rossa? Oh, nicely done, ladies. Come right up.
Was it twin day at school today? No?
We're going to be talking about soccer in the CIF. My name's Anna and I'm 11 years old and I'm in 5th grade. I've been playing soccer for years and where I stand it doesn't feel like you're thinking about what it's actually like for us. Winters here are already dangerous with ice, snowstorms, and rain, and now you're asking us to travel even further. I don't feel safe thinking about my teammates being on buses in those conditions. My teammates are one of my closest friends, and I can't think of not being able to play with them. Soccer isn't just a sport, it's a part of me. And now I'm being told that if you switch to CIF, sports like soccer and tennis might not even exist for us anymore. It feels like something we love is being taken away without anybody asking us or really hearing us. I spent years practicing getting better and making friendships that'll last, and now it feels like none of that matters. Right now, it feels like this decision is already made, and like you're not really listening to the people that it affects most. We are the ones on those buses. We are the ones on those fields. Listen to how much this sport means to us. Listen to how unfair this feels. Please don't make a decision that takes away something so important for kids like me.
Hi, my name is Haley Rosa, and I have been playing soccer for a while. Soccer is what really matters to me. We are right now missing soccer practice to talk of how dangerous it is to be driving over the summit in the winter. I never want to lose this sport, and if we switch to this league, I will never be able to play soccer again. Truckee can't drive over the summer in these conditions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And then Shannon Thayer, and then Sophie Innes is after that. Thank you, Shannon. Thank you. Thank you, Beth.
That's a really tough act to follow. My name is Shannon Thayer, and I am super proud of the girls. I do appreciate you hearing the girls tonight, even though I know it wasn't on the agenda item. I'm so proud of these girls. They really are missing soccer tonight because they felt it was super, super important to come out here. They were sick the last couple board meetings. We couldn't make it. So I have been one of the kind of behind the scenes parents, writing emails, letters, kind of following all the board meetings, usually from the soccer sidelines. These girls are the voice of your future. They're the class of 2033. They are the ones that this is going to affect. I feel I may have been a little naive, believing that you were truly fighting for the kids. I feel like it's, I just want to ask you one more time for you to be as brave as these girls, because this is huge for them to get up here and speak like this, and keep fighting for them. Please keep fighting for them.
Thank you, Shannon. And Sophie. Sophie plus, can I just put Sophie plus one?
Can we donate time?
No, you guys have, Sophie has 3 minutes.
But you all can fill out yellow forms and have your own 3 minutes.
Okay. Hi, hi everyone. My name is Sophie Ides, and I'm a junior and softball player at Truckee High. Tonight, I want to speak about the move of TTUSD into the CIF and why many students, parents, and community members believe this is a bad decision. I fortunately will not be affected by this move, as I will graduate before it happens, but I feel the need to fight for my teammates. Our softball team just had its most successful season in many years, beating our rivals multiple times, which is one of the many reasons this move is not only dangerous, but just plain unfair and sad. I know you've heard all the arguments about the safety issues. I'm not going to bring those up again. You know the dangers you are putting these athletes up against. I want to talk about something else. I want to talk about something that statistics and league maps cannot measure: heart, tradition, and fairness to the students who have worked for years to build something meaningful here at Truckee High. For the first time in years, our softball program is finally becoming truly competitive in our current league. Us athletes have spent years rebuilding, putting in extra hours, dealing with losing seasons, and fighting to earn respect. Players stayed committed when it was difficult. Coaches invested time and energy into developing young players. We believed in our teammates even when winning did not come easy or not at all. And now, just as this team is finally seeing success, you are changing the rules. That is unfair. That is sad. Imagine working for years to climb a mountain only to be told the finish line has suddenly been moved farther away. These athletes earned the chance to compete at the level they are finally reaching. They deserve the opportunity to enjoy the rivalries, championships, and competitive balance they helped create. Instead, they will now be thrown into leagues with larger schools, longer travel schedules, and programs with far greater resources and enrollment advantages, not to mention year-round fields to practice on. That is not an equal playing field. We should be expanding opportunities for girls' sports, not creating more barriers. And then there are the rivalries. High school sports are not only about standings and playoffs, they are about community. They are about packed gyms, familiar opponents, and generations of families showing up for the games, no matter the history and connection. Truckee softball saw so many people in the stands this year, and it was so fun for the athletes. Rivalries are what make high school sports special, and we are finally beating our rivals and having a ton of fun. The energy when longtime rivals face each other cannot be recreated overnight. Students dream about those games, alumni come back for them, communities rally around them. Those traditions matter because they create pride and belonging. If Truckee leaves this league, those rivalries disappear. Years of history, community, and hard work are gone. We have to ask who benefits from this move. Certainly not the students or the families worried about dangerous winter travel or teams facing an unfair playing ground. And most certainly not the community that values the rivalries that make high school sports unforgettable. Truckee athletes deserve fairness, they deserve safety, and they deserve to compete in the environment where their hard work can realistically lead to success. And they deserve to keep traditions and rivalries that make wearing a Truckee jersey mean something special. Thank you for your time.
Beth, I'm going to sneak Zoe up, if that's okay, just so she can finish that. Zoe, you can bring your team up if you want support, but Zoe, if you want to come back up and speak, but bring your team up, if that makes it easier. Come on.
Thank you. Hello, I'm Zoe Featherstone. I have talked in front of you before, and I have talked about the same issue. I'd just like to start with, our Truckee softball team made it to the playoffs this year for the first time in 12 years. We made it to the second round of playoffs for the first time in 25 years. This team has been amazing for my high school freshman year. It has been so much fun, and I'm so happy a part of this. If we change the CIF, it's going to change, and I don't want it to. This affects most of us here, a lot of freshmen, some sophomore, 3 juniors. It's just sad to see it change. It'll affect many other sports within Truckee too. Softball is my main one, and I would love to keep it going the way it is. I would hope to make it to states next year. That'll be the first time in, 40? Long time. I don't know, too long, way too long, like decades long. So I would like for that to happen. Anyone else got anything to add? I didn't plan this at all. It was kind of just for fun, but I would really appreciate it if you guys would think about this carefully, because I do not want to go into my junior year in CIF. I don't have anything else.
Thank you. Thank you, Beth. Beth Curtis. Oh, sorry, it wasn't on. Beth Curtis.
Thanks. I didn't fill out a yellow card because I was hoping to not need to speak, but I do feel that I need to speak. So for everyone here, I know the board's heard this before. I've been a Truckee resident since 1999. My kids went through Truckee schools, kindergarten through senior year. They played sports. One of my daughters still has a triple jump record up on the high school wall. They had a great time in sports here. One of my daughters went on to play sports in college. It's a D1 athlete. There's a lot of misunderstandings. The board did not make a decision. The board does not have a choice. The law in California has been the same since 2013. The board didn't do anything. I've heard a lot of claims about legal actions the board could take. And as an attorney, and I want to make it clear, I'm an attorney who represents people against the board. I'm currently representing a teacher suing the district. I'm not here as the district's friend. I know the district's lawyers because I go against them all the time and have for 30 years. I don't know wills and trusts. I don't know family law. You want to ask me about estates? I have no idea. But you ask me about education law? That's what I do. That's what I've done for 29 years. And I'm telling you that all of the remedies that people have said the board should be doing would be waste of money. There is one option, and anyone here could take it, but no one is. It's not just the board. The only thing that's changed is the NIAA bringing a reg banning transgender girls from participating in sports. If anyone would challenge the reg is contrary to the Nevada Constitution. Everyone here could stay in the NIAA. And as a LGBTQ advocate and part of an LGBTQ family, it makes me really sad that no one will bring that challenge. I can't bring it. My kids are too old. They're 24 and 26. If I could, I would. So I just, when everyone's saying the board's making this choice, the board isn't doing this, the board isn't doing that, I think there's a lot of misperceptions. And sometimes I tell my clients, look, we're now in the world of bad choices. I don't use the word bad, I use a word that I won't use here in public. But I say, okay, the choices we wanted aren't on the table. Let's look at the choices that are left and evaluate what's the best choice left. So if anyone here wants to challenge the NIAA reg, I have told the board, I've put it on the Save Our Sports website, I've talked privately to Save Our Sports, the ACLU will fund you in a lawsuit. And you can challenge the NIAA reg, and you may be able to stay. If no one's willing to do that, then support the board in trying to do the best they can to keep sports here in the best way that they can. But it's really hard for me to hear all of the misperceptions going around. So I just wanted to offer my perspective as an education law attorney, whether anyone wants to hear it or not. Thank you.
Oops, thank you very much, Beth. Is there any other public comment at this time? If not, we'll close public comment and move to Superintendent Report 10.0.
Thank you, President Triller. So as you know, for our district strategic plan, when we developed it 3 years ago, there was an underlying theme shown there about us engaging and empower students, educators, and staff to achieve their potential. And what I want to share tonight is about the amazing work our educators have done and the achievements that our students are making. And what I'm sharing is information from Stanford University. They have a project called the Educational Opportunity Project that can be viewed at the website shown on the screen. What they do is take all of the assessment data that's publicly available across the U.S., and they've made an interactive website. And you can go to any district in the U.S., and you can even compare districts. And what I would like to do is focus on our district and what the Stanford project is sharing. So this is our snapshot for TTUSD, and you can notice it's outlined in red, our district boundaries, that we are a green color. That indicates that our baseline state assessment test scores and also something called learning rates are above national average. And I'll dive deeper into both of those in just a couple minutes. But first, I want to put some context in place. You'll see in the dark box on the right, it talks about our socioeconomic status being slightly above average. This means our community is rich in resources. As we know, we talk about all the time the incredible support our community gives the schools. And many of our scholars, due to their background, walk through our doors with a significant head start. But as educators, we cannot confuse a student's starting line with a school's effectiveness. So we know that wealth can predict where a child starts, but our instructional quality dictates how fast they're going to grow. So also in that box, you'll see it says learning rates, and we're positive 21.2%. So I want to focus on learning rates. So this is a metric that really serves as a heartbeat of our strategic plan because we want our students to achieve their potential. And a learning rate tells us approximately how much our students are learning in each grade level year over year. We look closely at this data because it allows us to continuously elevate our instructional quality, and it ensures that we're successfully fueling the growth required to close the achievement gap. And that's one of the board's goals, is eliminating the achievement gap and closing that. So our mission is to ensure every student reaches their potential, regardless of their starting point. However, when a student may start behind, a standard pace a learning rate of 1 year for 1 year isn't going to help them progress. So that's the issue. If we only get the learning rate average of 1 of the predictable learning in 1 school year, that student is just going to be status quo. So we can use an analogy of track, since it's track season, and our runners. So if you imagine 2 runners on a track, and look in the upper right there, you have a student in red there starting behind by 50 meters. And if both the runners keep moving at the same speed, making that standard 1 year growth, their distance, the gap between them will never change. They're going to stay behind year after year, and they won't ever catch up. But if you look below, if you can get the speed, the accelerated growth over a few consecutive years, that student is going to catch up and get to grade level. And so that is how you close the gap. So if we look at our TTUSD learning rate, we're actually above 1 year. So I know this is a little hard to see, so let me kind of orient all of the information here. So on the horizontal axis, the x-axis, you have that socioeconomic status, with 0 being in the middle, and to the far left, -5, below national average, all the way up to the far right, above average. And then on the vertical or y-axis, that's the learning rate for the last 3 years. All of the dots represent the school districts in the U.S. The blue dots are California school districts. If you squint and look carefully, you can see light green dots kind of below that main line. That is what Stanford defines as similar districts. Those are our nearest matches within California that have similar socioeconomic status, demographics, and size.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Yep. So the light green ones are considered our similar districts. So they are found in California. They have a similar socioeconomic status profile for students as our district, similar demographics, and similar size district. And so Stanford named those as Lake Tahoe Unified, a close neighbor, Cabrillo Unified, Amador County Unified, Escalon Unified, and Ramona City Unified. And if you look carefully, there's that solid black line, that's the 1 year of learning rate, the expected learning in 1 year. Down below the line, there's those light greens. So our similar districts are all below that year over year, and the orange dot is us. So we're above the national average of learning for 1 year. So that means that our students are above the national average and above our similar districts. And I have one that's a little bit more zoomed in. So we sit at about 1.21 above the line. And this is an incredible testament to the hard work of our teachers and students. So on the graph, or in the right, upper right quartile, there's the little orange dot. And so if we go back to the runner analogy, the national average, that line, the x-axis across the middle there, is designed so that grade level students stay on grade level. But since we're above the average velocity or pace, the students who have started behind will be able to catch up and are catching up. And the more as a district we can accelerate their growth and learning, the more the achievement gap closes. And so there's a link here, Stanford, for every district, you can get the trends in academic performance for the school district. So I pulled TTUSDs, and it provides graphs like this, where we have our learning rate, and this is showing it over time. And what we're so excited about is that our learning rates aren't just positive, but they're actually increasing every single year. Now you'll notice there is that diagonal kind of gray area during the pandemic. And we heard a lot about, the pandemic slide. And so we were on a great trajectory prior to the pandemic. And then 22-23, we pick up again, where the orange line there. We're at a great rate there. So over a 10-year period from 2009 to 2019, we made about 0.1 gain in the learning rate, and already in 3 years, we've done the same. So we're very excited about this. It shows that the interventions are intentional instruction, the new curricula that we've rolled out, and of course, the tireless dedication of our educators is really having an impact. We're successfully shifting our scholars from standard growth into that extra surplus accelerated growth zone. And we know that closing the achievement gap doesn't happen overnight. It really requires the sustained compounding learning rate, accelerated learning rate year after year. And so the data that the Stanford project has put together shows that we're on the right track. We have great strategy through board guidance and our district strategic plan and the school's SIPSAs, which you'll see in a couple board meetings. And then most importantly, we have the momentum to ensure that every student, regardless of where they start, can reach their potential. So thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
So the learning rate for our district, and well, for all the districts, I assume, is based on cohort data.
Right, so you're looking at the same student over
Okay.
time. Yep.
Okay, well, that's good.
Yeah.
And are all these school district dots, I mean, do we know who they are? Like those 3 up there at the top, do we know who they are?
Yes, so in the interactive website, you can click on it and find out who they are. Because what we really want to know is in this one here, those districts that have very high socioeconomic
doing?
impact. Exactly,
Yeah.
right. And schools have done this. Seattle Pacific University in Washington State made this scattergram, and they went and studied what are the teaching strategies. And it shows that no matter where kids come from and where they start, we can get them there. And that's what we're
Are we
doing.
looking into what those districts are doing?
We certainly will, yeah, yeah.
I wouldn't
No,
think
great
so.
question, yeah.
Don't recreate the wheel.
Exactly.
Any?
I think the last learning rate line is spectacular. I'm amazed that there was such a drop during the pandemic. And I mean, everyone knew there would be. I'm kind of, although that there was such a dramatic drop. But the recovery looks fantastic. Looks great.
I guess the only question that I have is, when you say schools, is it public schools or is it a combination of all schools, charter, private, public?
That is a good question. Let's go back, and I will answer that. I'll find that for you. I believe for sure it's public schools. I don't know, private schools are not required to do the state assessments. Of course, our charters in California do. So that is a good question. I will find out if it included private schools. I'm guessing probably not because the assessment data may not have been there.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I was almost like not wanting to ask the question.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. Let me write that down.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That is very good news, exciting, thank you for that. Any public comment on that? Moving to 11.0, educational services.
Okay, and for this item, we are turning to our Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services, Mrs. Shawn Roderick, and her team.
Thank you. Good evening, Superintendent Kramer, President Driller, members of the Board of Trustees, and community. Tonight, we are pleased to provide an update on our 2026 summer programs. This year, TTUSD summer programs will provide our students with a comprehensive and inclusive environment for both learning and summer enrichment. Through our strong partnerships with the Boys and Girls Club at North Lake Tahoe and AIM High, alongside our targeted TTUSD interventions, we are equipped to serve the individual educational needs of our qualifying TK through 12 students. Our core objective remains the same: to deliver high-quality summer programming that supports student success, fosters personal growth, and cultivates a lifelong passion for learning. It is now my pleasure to introduce Mrs. Amy King, one of our summer school administrators, who will walk you through an update on our specific program offerings.
Before you start, if that's a Donner Trail shirt, I would like that as well.
This is not, this is a downtown Truckee shirt. I was trying to do a summer vibe here. Greetings, everyone. I'm Amy King, here in my capacity as the District Accountability Coordinator to share with you the 2026 Summer Program Plan. I know the board enjoys hearing about how we continue to support our students through the summer. So we have a grant totaling $945,000, it's been a long day, $945,482 to provide ACEs, After School Education and Safety, and ELOP, Expanded Learning and Opportunity Programs. We have 6 programs planned serving TK through grade 12. We are using primarily Kings Beach and Truckee L as our sites, with extended school year at Truckee High. New this year is an admin position and an admin assistant for support, and we're grateful to have food services, transportation, facilities, and custodial supporting all of these efforts. So let's get into it. Our ELOP program, Expanded Learning Opportunities Program, is held at the Boys and Girls Club, and they're the foundation for our elementary school students. The whole program goes from June 29th through July 31st. The following programs will run from June 29th through July 24th, 4-week program, and they'll be Monday through Thursday. We'll be providing academic summer school for students attending the Boys and Girls Club who need academic support. We have 3 teachers per school at Kings Beach and at Truckee L. Aim High will serve our middle school students at Kings Beach as usual. Our tiny TKers will have a bridge program again, 1 teacher and instructional aide per school. And our credit recovery will be at Kings Beach and Truckee L, a little difference this year, to support our high school students who need to complete classes. And our ESY extended school year will support our SPED students at Truckee High. We've been learning over the last 3 years and have some new additions to support our students best. We'll have 1 principal that will split time between the sites, 2 days at each site. And we'll also have an admin assistant that will alternate. So both sites have an extra staff member to contact families, support students, teachers, whatever is needed at the sites. We're looking forward to that. And like I said, we are going to do Monday through Thursday this year because the ELOP program, Boys and Girls Club program, does field trips on Fridays, and we don't want to interrupt that. Also with vacations for credit recovery students, all of that, we are hoping that the Monday through Thursday is successful. So starting with our Boys and Girls Club, we have a phenomenal relationship with them, and they're providing our structure. So TTUSD provides transportation for both sides for students. Food services and Boys and Girls Club are going to be providing breakfast and lunch for our students, and I know that's really important for all of you. You love making sure kids are fed over the summer. I do too. I got to visit the Boys and Girls Club last year, and they provide a fun and enriching day for all students. And then on Fridays, they go on field trips. This was a field trip for Kings Beach last year. Our academic summer school for elementary students, we've moved to an intervention model for our academic support this year. We'll be pulling rising 1st through 3rd graders to work with a certificated teacher for a 40-minute block of time in small group targeted instruction, and the instructional aide will support across those 3 teachers as needed. We're using iReady and our district assessments to identify students who need support, and then we're also talking with principals and schools for recommendations to make sure we're targeting the right kids. this year was my first experience with the TK program, and it gave me an even bigger appreciation for this TK Bridge Camp, which is our incoming TK students. They are tiny. They're going to do a summer bridge camp again, and they basically are learning how school works. So a certificated teacher and an instructional assistant will provide activities to acclimate them to a school setting, practice friendship skills, learn how to sit in a circle, listen to a story. It's a wonderful time. We get pictures during the summer, and it's really cute. Aim High is back this year for our middle schoolers. They gave us a tour last year, and it really is remarkable what they're able to do with middle schoolers during the middle of the summer. This is the only program operating Monday through Friday and invites rising 6th through 9th graders to participate in STEM lessons, a humanities class, issues and choices class, and various social academic activities. And then Credit Recovery is our program to support our high school students with credit completion using Edgenuity, an online program. We'll have 2 certificated teachers at Truckee L and 1 at KB to support organization and learning. One of the most important things they do is walk the students through how they can complete their class, so they do planning with them. And then students can complete their work at home and in class, and then we'll complete assessments in the classroom with teacher supervision. I love this district because all of our departments show up to make sure that kids are supported. We'll be serving breakfast and lunch for all of our programs. We'll have busing for the Truckee side and Lakeside with an additional bus to bring Truckee students down to KB for Aim High. That's because that's our only middle school program. And facilities and custodial are working with us on their projects. I know we talked at a board meeting about their extensive projects, so we can provide this academic time for our students and making sure that they aren't interfering with each other, that we're not getting in their way and they're not getting in our way. So they have it all planned out. It's amazing. And I think that's it. Thank you to the board for supporting this vital and robust program. We're excited to get started in a few short weeks. Does anybody have any questions?
Thank you, Amy. That.
I don't have any questions, but I'm trying to recall your presentation last year when you did this, but I can't remember the details. But it just feels to me like this program continues to expand under your leadership. And we've got more staff and more kids and more programs, things that are happening. And I think it's fantastic that kids have this option in the summer to continue their education or, have a place to go anyway.
Yeah, I'm proud to work with Ed Services. Sean and Kim and I plan together to make sure that we're learning from the last year. What can we do to improve our services and support for our students to make sure that they're getting that quality instruction during the school year?
I like that it's a balance too, because it's quality instruction, but it's also fun.
It's fun.
So kids want to go.
Yes.
And I think it's sort of that not in your face learning. It's kind of a wraparound where they're able to do things that are fun and still learn at the same time. And that includes, the social emotional interactions too, which I think a lot of them don't often have time to focus on, where summer really does open up that opportunity. So I agree with Pat. I feel like every time you come back to us and give this presentation, it just seems so much more successful than I think we even thought it would be. So yeah, it's awesome. It's great to hear about.
Great. I love presenting it to you.
I can't wait for you to come back and tell us the numbers.
Me too. I love that too.
That's so impressive last
Yeah. Great.
Fantastic work. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for supporting
Amy,
it.
thank you. Maybe we're going toward year-round school.
I think the calendar committee said that.
Calendar
That's a
committee, you're
controversial
lucky.
statement.
My comment would be that, and I think Danielle alluded to it, that it is fun, but that kids come, that and maybe it's communication, but the fact that it's offered doesn't always mean that kids will go. And the fact that we've been able to get people coming from different levels of whatever, high school, middle school, TK through 12 is a huge spread, but in terms of what just the fact that you're getting kids to come middle school, well, TK, we know why they're coming, because parents are like, please help. But with the middle school and high school, it's just, I think to me, it's just an amazing, the communication that goes out that says this is going to be beneficial to you. And then maybe just the parental support that says, please do this.
I think our parents love having this option and knowing that they trust our district, so they trust our district to put this on in the summer too. I think that's really
Yeah,
important.
well, no, it's good effort.
Well, and I also think, Amy, it's what you said earlier, is that we've got all these departments in the district that are coming.
That's right.
You know, to pitch in or help or whatever it is that is the right terminology, food services, transportation. You provide all of that, it's almost a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I wish I had this information from my State of Community speech. I would have been able to speak to that.
You can always
Wouldn't have had
contact
time.
me
Wouldn't
next
have
time.
had time. Next year.
Yeah, there you
Thank
go.
you so much, Amy. It's awesome. I know, on your plate, like, that's a lot. But that's good.
I enjoy
Otherwise,
it.
you'd have nothing else to do in the summer.
It's true, I would have nothing else to do, nothing.
God forbid. Okay.
All right, thank you all very much.
Ding.
I have a question
Okay.
for Superintendent Kramer regarding this, and I'm going to put you on the spot, I'm sorry. But it was my understanding that we were going to replace Edgenuity with another credit recovery plan.
I know they were looking into it. Mrs. Roderick, do you want to talk about what you explored and what's happening with Edgenuity and next steps?
So we kept up Edgenuity through the summer. We're looking at a CELIS for next year. As we got into the school year, in full transparency, sustaining the math, working with Carnegie, we focused on keeping math going. So this year we could release math to go into the ELA adoption. And with the ELA adoption, move into a new platform for our credit recovery and our summer school program. We tried to balance what we're giving to the teachers at the same time of what students need, so we don't feel overwhelmed and we lose sight of what we really need to move forward.
So a new platform with adoption of the new curriculum, is that what I'm hearing?
With ELA adoption, we're
Yeah.
looking at moving to a CELIS for our credit recovery program. It aligns more to state standards and to SAT prep, so it'll be a more robust program. So Edgenuity is on its final stages.
And when can we expect this to happen?
Sounds like they're on target that in the summer of 2027, the credit recovery will be with the new program. Is
Yes.
that the plan?
That is the plan.
But we're with it for the rest of the school year?
We're with
Next
Edgenuity
school year, that
for
is.
the rest of the school year, yeah.
Beginning of the school year in 26, 27, will it be Edgenuity or will it be the new program?
It will be the new program.
Oh, it will.
So this really is the sunset of it.
Sunset.
This
Of
summer,
Edgenuity.
that's it.
That's it, yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great. No, great question. Thank you.
Pat, are you using your new pen from Truckee High?
Yeah, it's actually fairly weighty.
It's very heavy.
It is so heavy.
That is totally, I'm using my pencil. Good question, so, and thank you for remembering that. And thank you, Sean. Moving on to, looks like A of Educational Services.
Yes, we'll turn back to Mrs. Roderick.
Thank you. For your consideration this evening, we are presenting a list of obsolete instructional materials for disposal. Following recent updates to the California Mathematics Framework, our current publishers, Great Minds and Carnegie Math, have released new curricula tailored specifically to our state standards. To ensure our instructional strategies meet the highest benchmarks, we are replacing our current nationally aligned Common Core math materials with these California-specific programs. This transition will provide our students with relevant, localized content that directly supports their academic growth. Most importantly, this upgrade was included in our adoption to the district, so there is no additional cost. Because our current Common Core materials will be outdated by July 2026, we must remove these items from our sites to make space for the incoming materials. We will process and dispose of these obsolete items in accordance with California Ed Code 60530. To maximize value, we plan to sell as many of the old materials as possible in exchange for textbook credits. As required by Education Code 60530, a list of materials scheduled for disposal will be provided to any requesting party within 30 days of board approval. Staff recommends the board approve the list of obsolete materials so we may successfully move forward with the new state-adopted curricula.
Thank you very much for that. Any comments or questions from the board on this item? The only thought I was going to have, so when we say that we're selling them, is that something that would go under Erica's responsibility? Is that something that we can, is that her kind of
Kim
role?
and I are actually working with a company called Big Books.
Okay.
It's a national organization that will buy obsolete materials. Although they're obsolete for California, the materials are still relevant in many of the other states.
Okay.
So we are hoping that they will pick them up and want to use them for their school districts.
Okay. I was just thinking, because the last time we did some selling, Erica had it all at Rideout, so that's good. Okay.
I think those were materials like
Yeah,
desks
items.
and such, not.
Well, I appreciate, true. This is true. All right, this is an action item, so thank you. Would someone care to make a motion on this curriculum and instruction item?
I'll make a motion to approve the disposal of obsolete instructional materials.
Second?
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Moving to 12.0 resolution, Superintendent Kramer.
For these items, we'll turn to our Assistant Superintendent Chief Business Officer, Mr. Todd Rivera.
Thank you, Superintendent Kramer, President Driller, members of the board. So tonight, I'm pleased to bring for your consideration Resolution Number 31, 2025-2026, which is adopting the Tahoe Truckee Unified School District 2026 Local Hazard Mitigation Plan. So the Local Hazard Mitigation Plan essentially identifies natural hazards that could impact the district within our boundaries, and also the mitigation measures that can be used to address some of these natural hazards, and also provides the ability or eligibility to apply for funding for disaster relief as well as mitigation grant funding. And before you consider, we really want to highlight what the Local Hazard Mitigation Plan is. It was quite a process, so I'd like to invite Anna Klostad, our Director of Facilities, Maintenance, and Operations, to give an overview of that.
No, now we're on. Good evening, President Driller, Superintendent Kramer, and board. Thank you for having me. Oh, it was on. Is that it? Okay. I must have double tapped it. Sorry about that. Okay, so here's your local hazard mitigation plan. As you can see, this document is robust. It creates a framework to identify the natural disasters, as Todd Rivera explained, but they're very specific to our region, our climate, our facilities, and our operational type. Most large agencies produce this same sort of document, so all of our surrounding counties, and all of them are more specific to their type of operations. So this document outlines the strategy for reducing risk on our students, staff, facilities, and the community that we serve. And recently, we did receive approval from both the Governor's Office of Emergency Services and FEMA for this document, and that was pretty heroic effort by our technical support, which was Tetra Tech. And by adopting this document, we will also qualify for several different kinds of grants, as Todd mentioned. Next slide, please. Oh, I do have the clicker. Okay. Nope, but you already did. So each local hazard mitigation plan is required to have a set of goals that are specific to that agency's hazards and our opportunities for mitigation. So we developed these 6 goals with the intention of really aligning with our local partner agencies. So that's Nevada County, Placer County, and El Dorado County, and their specific goals. And I'm happy to answer any specific questions on those. They're fairly detailed, but we were particularly excited to include the one about education and outreach, because that's what we do here. And we did go through a very robust public outreach process. So we had social media posts. Amber was extraordinarily helpful in this effort. We developed a website, we had flyers that we posted, and we also got a lot of information out in our family and staff newsletters. We had 3 very large online stakeholder meetings where we received significant detailed feedback, which was incredibly helpful. But we also received 81 responses to our public survey, which was extraordinary. We were very proud of that. And Tetra Tech, I really have to give them a huge shout out because this was really, really technical. They took our specific hazards, but they did incredible in-depth research on our floodplains, on our dam risks, on our wildfire risks, of course, on our snow risks, and other factors that we might not have considered. Like I didn't realize we do have one school in a dam flood zone. So surprises to us that now we can better plan for and prepare for and create mitigation strategies. So what we ultimately ended up with were these high level or very high hazards, which no surprises here: heavy snow and winter weather, landslides, and wildfire. Those are our top or our highest risks. Medium risks: extreme cold, heavy rain, thunderstorms, large hail. And then our lower risks are the dam failure, earthquakes, and floods. We actually did even look and consider things like tsunamis because we do live next to or adjacent to some large bodies of water. So they took all of this information and brought it into or shared all of their data and research, which is backed up in this document. That's what FEMA and Cal OES require us to do, to document. We're not just throwing darts in the dark. We are really doing the analytical data to understand those risks and how we mitigate them. And then with adoption tonight, we will start an annual cycle where we will do projects. We will apply for grants, do projects, implement those projects, and then update our guidelines. So we'll do an annual update to it that just kind of shows what progress we have made. And then every 5 years, we will have to redo the entire plan to assess whether or not there are any additional or new hazards. Happy to answer any questions.
The first question before you guys ask, Chris asked me, what school is going to get flooded?
There is a dam above Donner Trail.
You're right. I was like, no, it can't be Donner Trail. She said it.
I know, isn't that very counterintuitive? But there is a dam above Donner Trail, and because it's already on the Yuba River, which has a risk of flooding, the dam failure could exacerbate that.
Too much fun. Pat?
Hi, Anna.
Hi, Pat.
Are I'm maybe ahead of the game here on your cycle, but are there any mitigation projects that are already in mind for which you will need grant applications?
So, yeah, on the
Funny that you should.
entrance, they identified quite a few projects. The ones that we are already currently working on are fuels reduction. And we are fortunate to be collaborating with the California Conservation Corps to help us execute on that, as well as some building hardening measures, which will have a co-benefit of reducing energy usage in our buildings. But the targeted ones that we really wanted this plan approved for would be the roof strengthening projects, so that we wouldn't have to shovel snow off of some of our older roofs that have a very old snow load rating. So those are our primary target.
And are those projects, are they going to be funded by grants, or are they coming school district fund?
So we will be applying for FEMA grants for those. We have in the past successfully received FEMA grants for that type of work, which was a real help in documenting and identifying that as a need in this document and a hazard that we wanted to mitigate.
Great, thank you.
Yes, of course.
I don't have any questions. I'm pretty familiar with these.
Yes,
having
you-
worked on one for the town.
Yes, you are.
But it's always good to have that check-in and 5 years seems like it's such a long time frame, but it's really not. And when you have a good foundational plan, then it makes it so much easier when you're working on it in the next 5 years to keep it updated. So I feel like it's, just good practice to have it up to date and, yeah, good stuff in there.
Thank you.
I also don't have questions, but my comment is that it feels good to know that you are and have worked on this. I kind of liken it to, I'm thinking of our Alice protocol. It's like the poop may never hit the fan, but if it does, we have a plan of sorts.
Listen to you,
And
Ryan.
just listening, thinking about all the different school sites and what surrounds them, which makes their surroundings great learning environments, right? Being out by the water and by the forest and all of that, but also how that brings hazards in the climates that we live in. And it's just great to know that your department and that you are collaborating with FEMA and CAL FIRE and other local agencies to have a plan and educate our district on what we need to do to, be a viable, safe, proactive district. So, yeah.
Thank you for that. It's not just us looking out, but this plan also allows our partner agencies to look in and understand what our mitigation measures are, what our real hazards are, what our pain points are. I think the best set of comments we received was actually from the town of Truckee and their operations manager, because they were so familiar with our specific challenges. So yeah, it's a great way to partner with those adjacent agencies.
Yeah, I can see that. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Yeah, everything that everybody said, I'm completely in agreement with. This is incredible to see that this is actually really being focused on, and not just focused on, but really doing the preparedness work that is so critical, especially where we live, because we're at such high risk of
We are.
so many things. Evacuation centers are also, I think, something that comes to mind that I don't know if you shared light on, but the way in which we're going to, should we need to deploy centers for people to take shelter in the event of a wildfire or a flood or something like that, would be really helpful to be able to kind of have a slide maybe with some type of coordinated map around how that would come into place. Because that's the thing that bothers me, frankly, is I worry about, if we needed to evacuate one or more of our communities, how do we know and how do we make sure people understand how not to panic and flood the very limited highways that we have by trying to get out of town, especially if there's a shelter-in-place environment where they can stay really close here and be fed and have a cot and everything. And then what about the disaster that, of course, I'm going to have to ask this question because the Highway 80 corridor that stretches right behind the campuses or to the, the west of the campuses? I don't know
Highway 80 is
directions.
just the south of our Donner Pass
Yeah,
Road
just
campus,
south.
yeah.
Right,
Our
yeah.
campus is right in between Donner Pass Road and I-80, yeah.
And also a railroad track, right, that's carrying fuel and petroleum and highly explosive gases. I think that we could benefit from, having a coordinated response, especially if something happens in one of those public transportation or places where there's so much traffic and so much going on that, and it's of such proximity to our campuses that I think it would be really helpful and educational to understand better how we would mitigate that disaster, which I'm sure they're probably not even thinking about because it's not like a natural occurring disaster.
Yeah, you're right, that this is specific to natural disasters, not man-made disasters, so it wasn't addressing things like gun violence.
Right.
Or, yeah, a
Alien
train
invasion.
alien
Right.
invasion, train explosion.
Uh-huh.
But it informs our approach to those things. And we are very fortunate in, especially now that we're doing our forest fuels mitigation efforts, our sites are a very supportable and survivable shelter-in-place location. And we're making them better through the efforts of this plan and other programs and projects. But yeah, all of that stuff was talked about in the development of this plan. What happens if, and where the real challenge comes is when there's a natural disaster that creates a human-made disaster.
Bingo.
Right? That's the combination that's the real challenge, and you can't plan for every scenario. But these types of things help us understand what our parameters are and where our opportunities and where our risks are.
Well, it's interesting because the defensible space people were visiting our house yesterday, doing sort of a tour around to make sure that we were meeting all of the requirements. And I thought to myself, how far we have come in this world where we actually have to have conversations around defensible space, preparing for disasters, preparing for climate change related disasters, and it's now just the new normal. Like, it's now just the new normal, and we're so conditioned now to be hyper aware of the risks involved because of the fact that we've had these like disaster after disaster after disaster, connected to each other, that we now really have to be mindful of like how important your work is by being so ahead of the game and preparing us. Thank you so much. Really wonderful work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. We like having plans in place. And I think it's like the template you use if something does, at least we have something to work from. There are going to be things that we come across that aren't something that we can take care of, but we're going to be in a better spot because of this. So we may go right instead of left, but you never know. I like the comment that we are different, and that's something that we've been saying, that we are a mountain community, so that having our own separate one is huge, because we are different, but having everyone connected with other entities and agencies, Town of Truckee, whatever, is paramount. I think that's just been the whole thread of our existence up here, is that we are a team. And then by having this document printed, and then having things that we as a team decide are grant-worthy, by putting it in this, there's more likelihood that a FEMA grant will be accepted, or that's kind of like is that kind of how it works?
Yes, if it's identified as a hazard in here,
Yep.
it opens up doors to
Thank
lots
you.
of different types of
Okay.
grants.
So then bringing it back to what Kirsten was just saying in terms of evacuation plans and that kind of stuff, even though it is something that's human natured, and it's something that would, a truck that gets stuck is going to cause a huge disaster for getting us out, but we only have 4 ways to get out, right? So that is going to, for me, that would hopefully be one of the things that, even if it is, shelter in place, our schools look phenomenal, but I think the exit plan is one of the ones that I think we're all looking at. We don't have a bunker.
And the Town of Truckee is working on that in our Truckee evacuation planning and resilience guidelines. And then we're collaborating again with partner agencies for that exact same purpose.
Which is good. Well, that's awesome. Thank you. I'm glad you stayed. I didn't know what you were doing here. No. And no public, so thank you very much for that. This is an action item. So at this point, if there's no further questions, would anyone on the board care to make a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 31, 2025-26, adopting the TTUSD 2026 Local Hazard Mitigation Plan.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Well done, Todd and team and Anna. Moving to 12, I'm excited about the flood. You learn something new every day. 12.2, Superintendent Kramer.
Yes, for this item, we turn back to Mr. Rivera.
Thank you. So tonight, we're asking to consider and approve resolution number 32, 2025-26, which is requesting collection of charges on tax rolls for tax year 2026-27 with Placer County. And this is a resolution that we bring to you annually. It's a requirement of Placer County. And essentially, it just provides them with authorization to collect our Measure A parcel tax on our behalf. It also affirms that our parcel tax meets and complies with all the requirements of state law.
Thank you. We would like to make sure that we collect that money. Comments from the board? Seeing none from the public, this is an action item. Would anyone care to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 32, 2025-2026, requesting collection of charges on tax roll for tax year 26-27.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Thank you very much. Moving to 13.0, Superintendent Kramer, donation.
Yes, and for this, we turn back to Mrs. Roderick.
Thank you. For your consideration this evening, the Truckee Rotary Community Foundation is generously donating $1,889 to fund supplemental supplies for the Truckee Elementary School Math Intervention Program. These supplies will be used in coordination with our adopted math curriculum to provide individualized instructional opportunities for our students. It is the staff's recommendation the Board of Trustees accepts this generous donation from the Truckee Rotary Community Foundation.
Thank you, Mr. Roderick. Any comments from the board?
Very generous.
Very generous. I agree. That's something that we always thank. Rotary Club, thank you. I'll make a motion to, since there's any other comments, I'll make a motion to approve or accept the donation of the Rotary Club of Truckee for Truckee Elementary School Math Intervention Program.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. 13.2, Superintendent Kramer.
Mrs. Roderick?
Thank you. For your consideration this evening, the Truckee Rotary Community Foundation is generously donating $2,800 to fund supplemental supplies for our fourth grade classrooms at Truckee Elementary School. These supplies will be specifically used for their earth science enhancement lessons, purchasing map rolls. It is the staff's recommendation that the Board of Trustees accepts this generous donation from the Truckee Rotary Community Foundation.
Thank you. Once again, huge thanks. Comments from the board? Seeing none, would anyone care to make a motion on 13.2?
I'll move to accept the donation from Rotary Club for the Truckee L's science class.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Thank you. 14.0 is grant, Superintendent Kramer.
Mrs. Roderick?
Dude, this is.
Thank you. For your consideration this evening, the Truckee Donner Land Trust has generously awarded a $4,000 grant to fund the Sagehen Outdoor Education Program for the 2026-2027 school year. The Sagehen Outdoor Education Program provides engaging environmental science and outdoor education to all fifth grade students in T2SD. The program aims to instill a deeper appreciation of nature and the local environment by operating on core beliefs that students will naturally want to protect the outdoors once they have grown to love it. Throughout the year, each class will attend 2 one-day programs in the fall, a one-day snow science program in the winter, and a final one-day program in the spring. These sessions will take place in their natural outdoor settings. Students are highly motivated by these hands-on learning experiences, which also expose them to exciting future possibilities if they should choose a career to study the sciences. Staff recommends the Board of Trustees accepts this generous grant from the Truckee Donner Land Trust.
Thank you. Board comments? I will be driving and assisting this year at Sagehen, finally. I will make a motion to accept the grant from Truckee Donner Land Trust for Sagehen Outdoor Education Program for next year, 26-27.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Thank you very much for that. Looking forward to it. 15.0 is consent. Are there any items that need to be pulled by staff or you? Superintendent Kramer?
Not by staff?
Anything from the board? With that, I just want to highlight that we are approving a couple new CTE pathway courses, which I'm excited about. So I'll make a motion to approve the consent as presented. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Moves us to 17.0 business services. Superintendent Kramer?
Yes, and back to our Chief Business Officer, Mr. Rivera.
Thank you. So tonight, we ask that you approve the bid package and contractors agreement 26-00-14 with Brazos Urethane, Inc. for our summer roofing projects, which include a complete re-roof of the Donner Trail Elementary School gymnasium, the bus barn over at Donner Trail, roof replacement there as well, and then restoration of our Truckee Elementary School portable roofs, as well as Sierra Expeditionary Learning School portable roof restoration, and also at Rideout, our 3 portables there, we'll be doing a roof restoration as well. As you probably saw in the bid packet, we did go out to bid for this. And we included the bid summary. We received 3 contractor bids on this project. And unfortunately, the lowest bidder that you see in the summary, we had to deem that contractor non-responsive due to a couple of issues. So we did award it to the next lowest bidder, which was Brazos. And this is also just for labor. We purchased the actual roofing materials, which is the next item, separately.
Any comments from the board? The Donner Trail gymnasium roof was not included when we upgraded Donner Trail previously.
No, at that time, it didn't need replacement. So since then, we've had a complete third-party evaluation of our roofs, and we have kind of different projects determined for years out of when they would actually need replacement.
Perfect.
And
And
this
then
was-
the portables in Rideout, we'll fix those so that we could potentially move them, sell them, or are we fixing them so they stay where they are?
Well, right now, the plan is to keep them where they are,
Yep.
but in order to protect them from damage, and
Yep.
also we do have some items inside those that could get damaged in the event of a roof leak.
Okay.
The Rideout portables and cells in Truckee Elementary are kind of long overdue for a restoration, so we want to make sure that we're just protecting those buildings.
Awesome. Thank you. Any other comments? All right. Ooh.
No, I just feel like we're constantly working on roofs. This seems like an ongoing
be a reason
maintenance,
for that.
preventive maintenance. It's like, that's a big deal.
At least it's not floods. With that, does anyone care to make a motion for 17.1?
I'll make a motion to approve the, the contractor, approve the bid package and contractors agreement number 26-00-14.
I'll second.
Thank you very much. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. 17.2, Superintendent Kramer.
Mr. Rivera?
Thank you. So this next item is to approve the agreement 26-0015 between TTUSD and the Garland Company. Many years ago, just to give some history, we had selected Garland as our primary roofing materials vendor, and it was due to a number of reasons. One, the quality of their materials, 2, their warranty that they offered, and then also the level of service. They also include inspection services while the installation is in process, just to ensure that everything's installed properly, and they do that because they want it to align with their warranty requirements. So we actually purchased these materials through Garland, through a California multiple award schedule. It's kind of a state bid contract, so we don't have to go through the bidding process in order to purchase these.
Some of this is actually making sense, like I remember that.
And I'm sorry, that amount is $643,412.
You remember that?
Yeah, no, I don't like that. I will say, Todd, there's no change order, so I'm kind of okay with facilities right now. You're doing good. We'll let you.
Anti-change order.
Thank you very much for keeping those guys employed. Anyone care to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve agreement number 26-00-15.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Thank you. 17.3, Superintendent Kramer.
Mr. Rivera?
Thank you. So this next item, we ask that you approve the bid package and contractors agreement 26-0012M with Robert E. Sutton Company. And this is for our annual asphalt maintenance at multiple sites. So we have an asphalt maintenance plan that includes crack filling, slurry sealing, and striping. And every year it kind of alternates at different sites or different sections of sites. So in this particular case, every site in our district will have some asphalt sealing and crack filling and striping, just different asphalt areas at each site. And the amount of that contract is $4,820.
Thank you. Comments from the board? Just a quick question. Have we used Sutton in the past?
We have. It's been quite a few years since Sutton did work. Normally, every year we'll go out in a kind of either a formal bidding process or an informal quoting or proposal process. And we've had other contractors, I would say, over the last 6 or 7 years that have done work, but not Robert Sutton.
Okay.
But he has done work in the past in our district.
I recognize, he's local, so we like that. And then I guess my other question is that the other bids that came in, did we get a lot of bids from other local? I didn't see it. I didn't know if I should have asked that earlier, but just wondering, I know we have a couple other families that own local paving companies, and if they just didn't put a bid in.
Yeah, we received bids from 3 contractors, Elements Mountain Company, J.B. Bostic, who has done work for us in the past as well, and Robert E. Sutton.
Okay. Awesome. No, I'm always looking out for my, paving guys. But that's great. We like local people. You can't really be too far away to do paving, but I'm going to acknowledge local. With that, I will make a motion to approve bid package contract agreement 26-00-12M with Robert E. Sutton Company.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye, thank you. Moving to 18.0 technology. Superintendent Kramer.
Yes, and for this item, we turn to our Chief Technology Officer, Mr. Ed Hilton.
Thank you, Superintendent Kramer, and good evening, President Driller and members of the board. I'm here tonight to request approval for a contract with Maverick Networks to implement a new district-wide telephone system, emergency notification and paging platform, and analog line redundancy. Our current on-premise system has served us well, but it's reaching the end of its operational life after nearly 14 years of service. The transition is urgent because our existing hardware reaches a hard manufacturer-enforced end-of-life status over the summer. At that time, the on-premise system will no longer receive updates. The replacement is ultimately about student and staff safety and regulatory compliance. A replacement cloud-hosted platform will support dependable communications across all of our district sites, featuring modernized emergency routing. It also establishes modern cellular-based backups with 24-hour battery redundancy for our campus fire alarms and elevators, ensuring our facilities remain safe and fully compliant with building codes. To secure the solution, we conducted a competitive procurement process pursuant to California Contract Code Section 20118.2. The statute allows the district to evaluate tech proposals based on overall value and long-term reliability rather than just the lowest bid. After evaluating 6 proposals, we selected Maverick Networks for a total cost not to exceed $457,392.38, which will provide these services for 5 years, with the option to renew at the end of that 5-year term. The comprehensive contract covers all the necessary physical handsets, of which we have over 700, as well as licensing for 700 licenses for paging on bells and PAs like you see in the boardroom here. It also covers back-end licensing, professional integration, and staff training. Staff recommends that the board approve the agreement with Maverick Networks to start the transition. And thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have about our telephone system, bells and PA paging, and analog lines.
It's a lot of things to be talking about. Any comments from the board? Questions?
This was a long procurement process, but we're glad we got to the
It's
end.
like talking about, the intricate details of the buildings that are like above our head, but so important, like we need the elevators to work and the phones to work. So
Right.
it's great that you guys keep on that and make sure that it's current.
Thank you very much. It kind of follows along what Anna was saying in terms of being ready for everything, like we have to update it, so that's.
Yeah. One of the things that's really cool, I'll just add,
I'm sorry, I wasn't.
oh, I'm sorry, just kidding.
I wasn't even on.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. No, this new cloud-based system does provide kind of a backup, especially when we have power outages, that if cell towers are still up, we can reroute phone calls to apps that our administrators have on their devices. So it does provide more options for us when we do get into those emergency situations.
So unfortunately, Anna just left, but Todd's here, so he can relay that. But those are all, I mean, again, that can fall under our readiness and all that kind of stuff too, but it is something that's necessary. So with that, I'll make a motion to approve the bid package, approve and contract with Maverick Networks.
I'll second.
Thank you very much. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Perfect. Moving to 19.0.
Yes, and for this item, we turn to our Executive Director of Human Resources, Mr. Mike Shepard.
Thank you, Superintendent Kramer, President Driller, members of the board. For your consideration tonight, I'm bringing you the Declaration of Need, or as we refer to it in HR, the DAWN. And this is an annual document that we are required to bring to you, and it allows us through next school year to certify certain credentialed individuals who may not have a full permit or a credential. And one example is we hire a lot of teachers from Nevada and other states, and although we can get their credential most of the time easily converted, the English Learner Authorization, or the CLAD, they actually have to potentially take some coursework. So with this DAWN, we can apply for an emergency CLAD. And and also other things. For example, if a teacher is going to teach a subject area that they're not credentialed in, but they have experience, we would get them a temporary permit for that. Now and so what you'll see on the report is we've very much overestimated the numbers that we need. And we do that every year so that if there is an unusual need for more permits than we think, I don't have to bring a new revised DAWN back to you prior to issuing the permit, because this has to be on file with the county superintendent of schools, and the credential managers monitor this. So like, for example, I estimated we need 10 CLADs or English Learner Authorization. If we got to 11, they would kick it back and say, you're outside of your DAWN, you need to revise it, which would mean I'd have to bring it back as an action item. So with that, any questions?
So this overestimating is a common practice amongst?
Yes, we call it a very much guess, yes. In our circles, every district that I've ever been involved with, we always overestimate these numbers.
Okay, I'm glad you explained that, because when I first looked at this and it said 35 single subject teachers, I wasn't quite sure what was happening.
They're trying to, as Kirsten just said, they're trying to avoid change orders. That was my request from mine.
Yeah, I didn't want to bring change orders to President Driller.
One thing I always want to use your quotes, Michael, that you said, our mission is to get quality teachers in front of kids as fast as possible. So that's an awesome idea. The other thing I was going to say, I remember at one point we had some teachers that were coming in that were needing some additional certification. Do we at TTUSD offer any financial support or any help in getting those classes? To get, like, if there's a qualified teacher that we want and they don't have what they need, is there anything in our budget that gives them any support financially?
In some very limited circumstances, on a case-by-case basis, we may entertain that, depending on the circumstance. However, teachers will turn in units for salary schedule advancement. So that is an avenue that most of our workforce employs, because they can turn in the units that they're required to do by the state, and we count that towards salary.
Yep, thank you. Any other comments from the board? With that, that is a info action. So would anyone like to make a motion to approve 19.1? I'll make a motion to approve 19.1. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Who wanted it, Pat or Chris? Oh, Chris got it. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Thank you. 20.0, Superintendent Kramer, first read. I think we have some comments.
Yes, so our first one, we turn back to Mr. Hilton, our very brand-new board policy about artificial intelligence.
Thank you. As you recall, the initial draft for Board Policy 0441 was the result of a dedicated AI working group that met throughout the last academic year. Our goal was to create the framework that allows for innovation while protecting the core human experience of learning. Tonight, I'm presenting specific enhancements to that draft that incorporate your requests regarding environmental sustainability and stewardship from last meeting. While we often think of AI as an invisible cloud-based tool, it has a very real physical footprint in terms of the energy and water usage that are required to power and cool large-scale data centers, as you may be aware from the news. By adding stewardship to our accountability principle, we're teaching our students that being a responsible digital citizen also means being a responsible global citizen. We want our students to practice what we call purposeful usage, evaluating whether the environmental and cognitive cost of using AI is truly justified for a specific task. This update aligns with our district's focus on the productive struggle. If a student can achieve a learning goal through their own critical thinking, we want them to choose that path. Awareness of the resources required by AI gives our students one more reason to lean into their own cognitive development. In summary, the additions modernize the comprehensive work done by our AI working group. Over the last year, by integrating stewardship into the definition, TTOSD remains at the forefront of both digital innovation and environmental responsibility. This is a first read. With your direction, we'll return to the board for a second read and final adoption in June.
Thank you. I want to just, again, thank you for Danielle bringing it up, but then also this is just a procedural process in terms of how things work. And I think it's well noted that when first reads do come and there are comments or questions or public input, then it is given back to staff and it is updated and approved. And so I think this was a great practice. I don't think we've had some of them before, but I do want to say that that is something that I am happy that we did.
I just want to say thanks to Ed for doing that, and you did it so fast.
You're welcome.
So, yeah, I think it's a great upgrade to sort of what was already good, and I think everything you said just kind of nailed it. So it's great.
Yeah. Chris?
Yeah, I had a kind of I had a thought or an idea as I was rereading the policy. And that is, I wonder if maybe in the next step, right, because I think you're going to form a subcommittee of sorts, right, with the educators and whatever other partners you choose. I was thinking, would it be worth a discussion of some sort of a button or a phrase that before a student turns in work or a staff person turns in a report, that would say something along the lines of assisted by AI or created by AI and reviewed and approved by Chris Hennessy or John Smith, or just to have that extra second of thought of accountability, to use your word, Mr. Hilton, responsibility, but also just self-awareness, because we heard from so many students as we toured the schools that they do use it because they're tired, burned out, and run out of time, that they do use AI to just send stuff through. So it's kind of like a moral kind of, I don't know, it's like, am I explaining my idea thoroughly, clearly?
It gets to like academic responsibility and integrity.
Yeah, and I know as a district that your department and through your leadership, right, that we do certain things through our Chromebooks to not allow certain AI things programs, what have you. But we do know that especially in high school, our students have their own, MacBooks, and at home they have access to their own stuff that they might be doing schoolwork on. So just like an extra step of self-awareness. I don't know, might that be worth a discussion?
Absolutely. We'll be working on this with Educational Services, so Ms. Roderick and I will be working on it together. And it does get to that academic integrity piece. And I would say typically with these kind of things, it's not necessarily a policy level. It kind of gets into how different teachers are working in their classroom. And I would say there certainly is a level of that even now that's happening to a certain extent, that teachers are requiring that or students are disclosing. I think it's certainly worth discussing, and I'm sure it will. I know it will come up in our conversations.
Yeah, and as far as relating it out, it's kind of trickles from the top down, right? Because I even ask Superintendent Kramer, like, when you do that, can you please let me know that it's AI? And I think you have, in either verbally or on paper. So, but it would be kind of a school standard or a district standard is what my thought process is.
Anything else?
Thank you for listening.
You're welcome. Thank you for your input.
Thank you with that. So with that being stated, there is no adjustments to the actual policy as written. So then, Board, are we comfortable having this come back in consent? Okay, thank you for this policy, yes. Moving to 20.2.
And for this item, we turn again to Mr. Hilton.
Thank you. Tonight I'm presenting the first read of an update to Board Policy 5131.8 governing mobile communication devices, AKA cell phones. The update is driven by Assembly Bill 3216, which requires California school boards to adopt policies limiting or prohibiting student smartphone use at school sites by July 1st, 2026. While TTOSD has had a mobile device policy since 2020, this revision formalizes our language to meet new legal mandates and commits the district to a 5-year stakeholder review cycle. Our policy maintains the philosophy that while digital tools have benefits, they must not disrupt the learning environment. The updated language explicitly requires devices to be off and away during instructional time. However, in compliance with the law, we protect student use in 4 scenarios, and those are during emergencies, when a teacher grants permission for an educational purpose, 3 for medical necessity, or 4 when required by the student's IEP, Individualized Educational Program. We've also clarified our search and seizure protocols. In alignment with privacy laws, the policy specifies that a school official may only search a personal device if there's reasonable suspicion of a violation of law or the school rules. This is a first read. With your direction, we'll return to the board for second read and final adoption in June before the July 1st deadline.
Thank you for that, Mr. Hilton. I appreciate the fact that we've already had ours in place, and we're now, again, just modifying a template that was there. Appreciate the fact that we're moving forward. I do think it's important to recognize that the 2020 adoption that we had was student voice was input. I mean, there was a lot of student voice on that, and that's a pretty powerful thing for us. Any other comments? Thank you.
I just wanted to note, because I thought it was funny when I was reading it, that our original one dated 2020 references pagers. So it just gives you like the sense of how far we've come where, I mean, even something like smartwatch, we're like, no, we don't need to call it that anymore. We'll just call it a smartphone. That, I mean, I think we'll exponentially start doing these more frequently, right? It's like, okay, it's been 6 years, but next time it's going to be like 3 years or 2 years because there's going to be something else that we're going to have to address that we didn't know about.
Well, also ironic is that some students are now, they don't want the smartphone, so they're going back to older technology like pagers. So, yeah, you know, flip phones. Love it.
Thank you. Definitely is a moving target, and again, it's something that we have in place and we can work from. If board is okay, we'll bring board policy 5131.8 back on consent. Next one is 20.3, Superintendent Kramer.
And for this item, we turn to Mr. Shepherd.
Thank you. This is a first read tonight of the board policy, revisions to board policy 41, 42, and 4319.21. And just as a reminder, the 4100 series deals with certificated staff, the 42s deal with classified, and the 43s deal with management, so they're virtually the same. So this is in response, updates in response to Law SB 848, which prohibits inappropriate conduct between district employees, adult volunteers, and contractors, and among and between adults employed, volunteering, or under contract with the district. And the corresponding exhibits, 4119.21 exhibit is referring to the National Education Association's Code of Ethics for Educators. Exhibit for 4219.21 is the professional standards for in relation to classified employees, and then the 43 are the educational leaders standards. And so this is a first read, and we'll bring this back if you have no questions.
So I guess I do have a question. So I looked at the public comment that we got from Rachel Falk, which she's identifying in her public comment that elementary school students have different emotional, developmental, and social needs versus high school and middle school kids. And I think there's some concern raised just about how, as an, when you're working with kids, to have sort of that appropriate interaction when your response might be like, oh, they need a hug, or I want to, support them in a way that I can. And I think I'm just curious how you kind of view this public comment and are the ability for us to respond to it. That's something that would still be useful for the district in the event something happened, but then also sort of providing necessary guidance for teachers that do maybe work in a little bit different situation with kids that have different responses than, middle school and high school kids.
Thank you, Trustee Nishimori. I apologize. That public comment is really directed towards 20.4, which I failed to delineate that is the more 20.4, that policy is what goes into the detail, whereas the 4119.21, this policy is much more broad and just states that it's inappropriate conduct and relies on the next policy to outline the particulars.
Sorry, that was my bad. I did read them all, and I had the first one pulled up in front of me, and I think I was just looking at the language a little bit different. But yeah, I think the broad policy seems fine. I think we're talking about probably the more specifics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I don't have concern about the first one. I think that was directed more towards the second one.
Thank you for the breakdown of that one. This is 20.4. Would anyone care to make a motion on that?
It's info only, and I
Oh,
think.
it's an info. Oh, my goodness,
So,
thank you.
Mr. Shepherd, if you want to talk a little bit
Yes.
about the student interaction, this is the one that we received the public comment about.
Yes, so this is, it's 4119.24.
Yep.
This is a new policy, and this, Trustee Nishimori, I believe this speaks to what you asked me. And what I will say is, this is a departure from tradition. It's our new, what I would characterize as our new normal. This is in response to the new law that I just referenced in the last policy. And this document is an example that was provided to us in collaboration with different attorney firms and our insurance carrier. And many districts are adopting similar policies like this. So to your point, one thing that has come up in relation to where elementary students, there was concern is about hugging, employee-initiated hugs, as an example. And so I think there are some practices where staff, you know, you have a 5-year-old and they're upset, and they get they may want a hug, they may need a hug, they may need that comfort and support. So this policy may suggest that that could be inappropriate. And so I know that particular item did raise some concerns.
Yeah, I guess I'm wondering, and I don't know if it's possible, but there's clearly a distinction between employee-initiated and student-initiated. And is there, and it would be a little unusual, but a way to kind of recognize that in this, where we say more clearly, like, a teacher may have a different reaction for student-initiated, and here's sort of what still falls within what's appropriate in this policy, but then provides, you know, maybe some better guidance so that, you know, you don't want a teacher to feel bad if a student's coming up and clearly has an emotional need for something that's like a hug, as an example, but still recognizing that, yeah, we need to have, you know, clear understanding of what's appropriate behavior.
Yes, and I think one thing that's important to note, the last sentence of inappropriate conduct says it's really talking about the 4 different types of interactions: physical, communications, social, and emotional. And then the last sentence, inappropriate conduct includes but is not limited to. So this is not an exhaustive list. So I think that as a general practice, these are things that are certainly recommended to follow. I think everything is in context. But I think in the world we live in now, it's all about context and intention. And so, yeah, does that answer your question?
Yeah, and maybe that's the answer there, though, is adding the words like within context. Maybe that's kind of a missing piece. So, because I feel like we didn't necessarily use that word, but I do feel like that has a lot of value in the way that this is structured. So, I would be curious to hear what the other board members think, but.
Is there an opportunity for you to provide this board with 1 or 2 other options of language for us to consider?
Absolutely. Yes. We're happy to take any suggestions you have and bring you a policy revision for consideration. Not a problem.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that this has to be the thing, right? I mean, if a 6-year-old wants a hug, but at the same time, we're a school district and we have to
Well, that's what I was going to say, that
protect the
yep.
student, protect the adult.
We appreciate the legal implications of and all your research, and then obviously your knowledge and what you've shared with us, that normally that you wouldn't necessarily want to change a policy and have it be able to be broad, but I think the points were well made up, that there are some things that might need a little bit more tender, loving care or whatever, but I don't know, and again, I don't know the wordings.
Yeah, and I wasn't saying we should remove anything that's in here necessarily, because I feel like we do identify, you know, sort of appropriate, inappropriate, and those are good examples. I think it's just that, like, nuance between if it's, you know, student initiated and sort of what's the context of that to be able to consider that as there could be an appropriate response.
And just so we've talked a lot about employee-initiated hugs. As an example, one of our schools has a policy where adults ask, do you need a hug? Would you like a hug? That is not adult-initiated. They're asking permission. And so.
But even having something like that clarified, I feel like could be helpful, that there's a distinction, because, like, in my mind, that's still adult-initiated. And yes, you're asking for permission, but I feel like that could be a good distinction to include.
All right, so just listening quickly to this, I think there's been some valuable input from both, and Kirsten, you're okay with Levac? Yeah, sorry, Kirsten, that we look at it, and again, I think we understand your role and what you're putting forth. I think it's just a sensitivity to our nature of our school district and what we appreciate. So with that being said, this one will, if we could get it come back again.
It will come back.
For review.
For first reading.
Thank you. Good chatting, folks, good chatting. Thank you, Mike. Moving us to 21.0.
I think we have one more, 20.5.
Oh, I did do that, sorry.
No, that's okay.
20.5.
Mrs. Roderick.
Thank you. For your consideration this evening, I'm presenting a first read of the Tahoe Truckee Unified School District's updated policy 6020 regarding parent involvement. TTUSD recognizes that parents and guardians are their children's first and most influential teachers, and that sustained family involvement contributes greatly to a student achievement and positive school environment. Under this policy, the superintendent, chief learning officer, or designee will work with families to jointly develop and implement these engagement strategies. To ensure parents are meaningfully involved in an advisory decision-making and advocacy role for all grade levels, and are formally notified of their rights to participate in their child's education. A key component is integrating these efforts into our local control and accountability plan, also known as the LCAP, with specific goals to promote participation among families of our English learners, our foster youth, our students with disabilities, and students eligible for free and reduced price meals. To facilitate this, Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services will convene a parent advisory committee and meet with the District English Learning Advisory Committee to review and comment on the LCAP, with the superintendent, chief learning officer, or designee attending annually to receive direct feedback. This policy also outlines specific commitments for our Title I schools. To ensure these initiatives are effective, the superintendent, chief learning officer, or designee will evaluate our efforts and report back to the board on the adequacy of our engagement opportunities and any barriers that may inhibit participation. This is a first read, and with your direction, we'll return for adoption in June. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mrs. Roderick. I apologize for skipping over it. I had so many marks on here. Any comments from the board? Awesome. Well, thank you very much for that. We like all the committees and all the involvements. We'll bring that back to consent in June. Now, 21.0. Kirsten, you want to start us off?
I don't have anything tonight, thank you.
Perfect. Chris?
So I want to just share about two of the things that I participated in the last week or so. The first one, and Ms. Closestead is gone, but I just want to say that I did attend representing the school district, I don't want to mess it up, State of the Community event that the town of Truckee hosted, and I thought it was really well done, and I'm so happy that the school district, thank you for sharing, you did a great job. The school district got to share some of our successes. And then the Truckee High School board visit this year was especially fun for me, because usually we're very much into curriculum classes like math and what have you, and those are very valuable, but kind of spontaneously, we ended up in the welding classroom and the yearbook classroom and some other creative stuff, and it was so fun to see very interactive learning, and the kids just being creative. And as many people know, I'm a huge proponent of trades in school, and I was geeking out on the welding class and how much we're able to do with the little bit that we have. And I look forward to boosting that in other trades and collaboration about trades or for the trades with other entities. But the welding class blew me away. The students building their welding bays. There were projects that were being, like on the final stages, that were being designed and displayed, and I was just really proud to walk through Truckee High, and yeah, Mr. Wold is doing a great job with the resources that school has been given for welding, which is not little, but it's also not maximized, right? So yeah, thank you for hosting us, and that's all I have.
Thank you.
I have just been working a lot, so I didn't do a significant amount other than I did attend the State of the Community event. And my the feedback that we've heard is that everyone seemed to enjoy the connections that were made. And so I think the plan right now is to do it again next year, but maybe have more of a panel format so that there can be sort of more of the question and answer opportunities where maybe even the community submits questions ahead of time and that they able to have more kind of cross interactions between different agencies. So I think it'll evolve, but if there's interest, then the town will do it again. So that's pretty exciting.
I wanted to, again, congratulate all the retirees that we recognized tonight. It was only a few years ago that I was in their spot there. And I can tell you no matter how long you've been in this district, it's a bittersweet moment. And the emotions are high and low. You are finally free to go and pursue your dreams and so on, but at the same time, you're letting go of being part of something that is bigger than yourself, something that's so important that holds together civilization, and it's hard to let go of that. I really haven't because now I'm here, but
I know.
But those of you who are up here,
You're a
go
slow
fly, have fun. Also, in reflection of the learning rates that you showed us earlier, and you have already congratulated the staff for digging in and really making a difference. But I also want to congratulate the students who really did the heavy lifting to make those learning rates go up like that. It was fantastic hard work on the students' part as well as the teachers. I want to thank someone at Truckee High for all these nice gifts. It's very nice, the hats and the water bottle and so on. If it was a leadership class, thank you. I appreciate that. John Newberger, if you were behind that, thank you. Appreciate that as well. A week and a half ago, I chaperoned Truckee High School Drama Club to Ashland for 3 days of drama. Unfortunately, among the students, there was no drama. They were perfect students and made the trip very easy. We all saw 4 plays. There were the students had an opportunity to see a real variety of theater. There were so many different things that they saw. Shakespeare, Midsummer Night's Dream, hysterical, funny, it was great, and it's so approachable. Shakespeare's hard to understand, but when you see it on stage, and that particular play is very approachable and understandable. And then a great American classic, Raisin in the Sun by Lorraine Hansberry. Just such a tragic story, but with hope at the end. So it doesn't leave you dragging at the end. There's this moment of hope where these people have gone through this terrible tragedy, but they're going to go on anyway, and they're going to make the best of life in their situation. And then, do you remember, you probably heard the story about during 9/11, and all the planes were grounded that were in the air, and there were 30-some airliners that were forced down in this little town in Nova Scotia, right? And so, the population of the town doubled when these people landed, and they were there for 6 days, and they didn't have hotels, they didn't have, and so the people came out of their homes, and so this play called Come From Away, and that's in Nova Scotia. People who come from far away were called Come From Aways, and it was this great heartwarming story. It was funny and everything, and it was a musical. And, who was thinking, hey, let's write a musical about these planes being grounded in Nova Scotia? And it was a wonderful play. There was a 4th one, too. I can't remember the name of it, but it was crazy and insane. So I think that the drama director who organized this picked 4 really extraordinarily different plays so the kids could see different types of theater. And some of these kids had never seen live theater before. Some of them have never been to a legit theater at the Shakespearean Festival up in Ashland, a beautiful theater up there, great productions. It was great. I also want to mention that this Saturday at Truckee High School is a musical showcase, which is sort of in lieu of the musical. Doors at 6:30, curtain at 7. And again, that's Saturday night. Adults are $10, students are $5. Awesome. That's it.
I just want to follow up the Come From Away. I don't know the name of it right this moment, but there is a book about the writing of that musical and the author's experience making the musical because it was so modern, right, 9/11. I'll have to look at the name of that book to give it to you because it was pretty extraordinary. The book was.
Who comes up with these ideas? It's like, how do you come up with the idea of Hamilton? Oh, let's do a musical,
Right.
Modern music, but period, about Alexander Hamilton. It's crazy. Yeah.
Too funny. I will share that we went to PCOE the other night, and our awards receptions celebrating gold in education, and we had 2 tables, which was awesome. We had some great awards for some of our classified and our teachers. Patty wasn't there, but I'm going to read them, because Patty got one, Patty Ferrari, and then we had, who was with us? We had David Stakely, we had, who? Bernard was there. Let's keep going, there's Truckee. They did win fabulous prizes, and I'm sorry I didn't have them highlighted. Oh, Maria Torres Sanchez for paraprofessional, and Bernard for Carrillo for skilled trade. Stakely was high school. Erica Alstad was elementary. And we can only get so many, so we didn't get middle school this year. And we didn't get food this year because we've already had food for so long. And Kelly. Oh, we did have Horencia was there. Horencia. We did have Hortensia, sorry. And then we had Kelly Eberhardt. So congrats to all of our amazing people, PCOE. State of the community, definitely appreciated the help I had from Kirsten. I did use AI, but my AI is Amber Intelligence, not AI. So there you go. Powered by human AI. Thank you very much for that. True story, the first person on this silly thing is me. Crazy. But I really thought it was awesome to be able to represent TTUSD in Truckee, because I don't know as many Truckee people. Learned a bunch. But we got to celebrate great things. And so I thought it was really cool. And Superintendent Kramer said gratitude. But it was definitely, there's a lot of great things happening in our school district. And Amber, thank you for getting me some of the input, but a lot of it was student-driven and student successes, as well as our, Todd got shout out for our general obligation bond, saving money, and then all of our CTE pathways. It was definitely a positive. So anyway, that was a kind of a cool thing. Look forward to doing it next year. And then with that, the meeting is adjourned at 7:51.